Welcome back, everybody, to The Hum, a Kansas Hoops podcast via the Field of 68. We have a very special episode for you today as I am currently at the Big 12 tournament and Jackson is at home per usual, but I am here. I am at the Big 12 tournament. I'm right here in the thick of the action, and today we'll be going over Kansas's path to a potential Big 12 tournament crown and just everything Big 12 tournament. So stick around with us. We are here on episode 29 of The Hum, a Kansas Hoops podcast. All right, Jackson. Kansas basketball got some pretty big news yesterday. Kevin McCullar and Hunter Dickinson both will be out the entirety of the Big 12 tournament. Kansas will be without their two best players. They'll be without about 36 points per game, 17 rebounds per game. Jackson, I'll just kick it to you first. What are your thoughts on Kansas being without these two players for the Big 12 tournament?
Dude, when you put it like that, it's like, how are we going to score 50 in any of these games? And who's going to rebound? It's got to be KJ. It's not Big 12 tournament-wise, not looking great for Kansas. As Bill said, though, hopefully they're both going to be ready to ramp up by the time the actual tournament rolls around. So I think it's a good move on Self, sitting these two guys. The Big 12 tournament, Bill wants to win it for sure, but historically for him, it's the smallest thing he cares about. Like, he cares about the regular season Big 12 way more, obviously cares about the tournament way more. Big 12 tournament's just like, hey, it's fun. If we're good, let's go win it. This year, he clearly sat back and realized it's probably not the year. Houston and Iowa State look really good, and two of my best players can't really walk. So we're just going to sit them.
The Big 12 tournament this year, Jackson, like if you're really thinking about the scheme of college basketball, where these teams might be in the postseason, like the Big 12 tournament really has no impact on that. Like these teams like Houston, they're going to be a 1. Iowa State is going to be a 2 or 3. Baylor and Kansas, they're going to be in that range. And then the other teams like Texas Tech, TCU, they're going to be in that 6 to 10 range. So really at the Big 12 tournament, nothing's changing. A team like Cincinnati, West Virginia, UCF, they're not making the NCAA tournament. So I was just talking, Jeff Goodman is here, and we were actually just kind of talking about this. There's really no big storylines, really nothing huge to play for here at the Big 12 tournament. So I think having Hunter and Kevin McCullar sit out is actually going to be a positive for Kansas because, Bill Self says yesterday that right now this is probably the least healthy Kansas has been all year. But in after a week of rest, it's going to be the most healthy they've been in a long time. So I'm ready to see a healthy Kansas team play basketball again, Jackson. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it feels like it's been so long, Sam. Like when Kevin was kind of coming back, plays here, plays there, he wasn't even close to fully healthy. We really haven't seen this, probably the Houston game, the one in Lawrence, or maybe even going back further to the first couple of Big 12 games. Really haven't seen Kansas to full strength since. In terms of I honestly think TCU needs to win. I think that's really the only storyline because their bubble right now, I think they should be in regardless, but
TCU will be in. There's no way.
If they lose pretty bad, I can see the committee putting them in a first 4 game as an 11 seed. So I think that's kind of the only one. But yeah, you're right. Cincinnati would have to win it. UCF would have to win it to even make it. But there's really no Big 12 teams on the bubble. Even OU is locked in at this point. I think even if they lose, don't they play today?
No, everybody's playing tomorrow. It's just the 14-11, 13-12 games today, I'm pretty sure.
So, even OU, they get blown out. They're still going to be fine. You guys are right. There's really not a whole lot of movement. Maybe I guess Iowa State being a 2 or a 3 is still up for grabs. So they could push to a 2 with a couple wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to go over what exactly Self said about Kevin and about Hunter yesterday. Really kind of Kansas fans were left in the air on what would ultimately be the result of Hunter's MRI, which he ended up taking yesterday. So this is a Self quote. He said that we got great news yesterday with Hunter. There's no surgery. He did not tear it. Actually, he's far better off than the doctors and the trainers even imagined. He's got good range of motion there. He already started rehab and all of those things, so that's good news. Uh, then he said the bad news is he's not going to play this week. The good news is, though, he should be practicing full speed the start of next week. So that's Kansas preparing for the NCAA tournament. Should be ramped up to go for that. So that's good. He said all indications are pointing that have a contact Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, depending on if we play Thursday or Friday, but should at least get 3 full days, Self said Hunter Dickinson would. And then on Kevin McCullar, Self pretty much said whenever he got out there against Houston, he really couldn't feel like he could perform. So he went through a substitution, came out, and then Self said that Kevin will also not play this week. But that's a positive because everybody thinks this will help him kind of get the knee better, get him healthy. Overall, I think I really do, Jackson, think this is a smart move. There's no reason for KU to try to win 4 games in 4 days. There's no reason
I don't
for
even think
Kansas to try to do it.
I don't even think they could at full strength. Even if Kevin and Hunter were super healthy, I would still be like, dude, is this even worth it? Like this team, I mean, we saw this the Saturday Mondays this year were not great. And that's actually literally what March Madness is, actually. But yeah, think they will literally, by the time they play next, have 2 full weeks off from all like basketball related activities. That is really, really big for Kevin. Just please, like, just rest. Don't like Kevin needs to be in a wheelchair. Like, no, don't be on your feet at all. With Hunter, so he dislocated it, right? But the MRIs were negative.
Yeah, well, he dislocated it, and then Self said after the game that they popped it back into
Yeah.
place. So
Okay.
it wasn't dislocated for long.
Yeah, just for like 20 minutes. But now it's good. Yeah, Hunter, take a load off. Kev, take a load off. I don't care about this week personally. I'm ready to go for the big tourney.
Yeah, I still think though Kansas could get a win this week. Right now, West Virginia and Cincinnati are playing. That's who Kansas will play at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow. It is 14-9 Cincinnati as we speak. I'm gonna go out and watch the end of that game once we're done recording. But if you think about it, this is going to be the starting lineup. Jackson, Kansas is going to go small. We're going to be playing KJ at the 5. So that means we're going to be switching everything. I would assume you got KJ at the 5, Furphy at the 4, Timberlake at the 3, and then Elmarko and DeJuan, your 2 guards. Like, that's not terrible. Like, I'm looking at that lineup. I'm looking at that lineup, and that looks like some fun. That looks like you're going to go up the court. It's going to be fast. Like, I think Kansas could win a couple of games with this team. I'm not going to lie. And then, of course, you got Jamari and Parker Brown off the bench.
A lot of Jamari minutes coming up. A lot of Jamari minutes. But
he's going to have a huge week. He's going to have one.
So, man, I could see it. Like, I don't want to – I mean, I think Cincinnati beats West Virginia, and I think Kansas struggles early but pulls it out against Cincinnati. I want to see that tempo, man. Like, I want to see DeJuan push up the floor. Furphy in transition is really, really good. I want to see a lot of that. And I want to see KJ just kind of – I feel like the past couple weeks have been very weird for him. I don't know why I feel like that, but he's not putting up a ton of points like he was earlier in the year. It's been around 8 to 12. The rebounding is just non-existent right now. So I'm hoping KJ at the 5, he gets 5 or 6 rebounds, gets his confidence bringing the ball up the floor again. I mean, he hasn't been doing that a whole lot lately. I mean, we talked about that. I feel like it was 2-3 months ago. We're like, hey, KJ can push it. And then his just never really took another step in the rebounding department. So we haven't got to see it a lot. I hope we see it a ton this week.
Yeah, he had those 2 double-doubles in a row, and then he just kind of hasn't rebounded the ball since. Kansas is going to need somebody to rebound. Johnny Furphy cannot average 15 rebounds a game. And looking at this lineup, it looks like that Furphy might do that. So, yeah, KJ is going to have to be big. I mean, honestly, Timberlake is going to have to be big on the glass. He's kind of filling in that Kevin McCullar role of being a guard, a little bit bigger. So he's going to have to be huge on the glass. But, yeah, I'm excited to see this team run. Like, I think that's going to be the key. If you remember, we talked about earlier this year, kind of whenever Bill Self had Elmarko and Timberlake on the bench, and he started bringing them both in together. What did KU do all the time whenever they were in together? Just grab the ball and go. we're going to see a lot of that this weekend, and how effective Kansas is in transition. It's going to be huge. El Marco, he's electric in transition. We've seen what Nick Timberlake can do
Yeah,
throwing down
no
dunks.
kidding.
Johnny Furphy with his left hand is just like so simple and easy in transition. I don't get it. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, Jackson, for just because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens, you
Like if
know?
we lose, like Kansas loses to Cincinnati tomorrow, running the small ball lamp, that didn't work. All right, let's get ready.
Who cares? We got a week off
Like
to prepare for the
right,
NCAA tournament.
probably gonna get a 4 seed after that, but I mean, as we say, it's all about the draw, and Bill could give a rat's ass about seeding. I know that for a fact.
UConn was a 4 seed last year. Just saying, UConn was a 4. They won it all.
Grossly underseeded 4 seed. They should have been
And,
2.
and I will say that UConn had a very similar year to Kansas last year.
Oh,
They
yeah.
started off, they were very highly touted to start the year. They started off great. I think they got up to number 2 in the country at one point earlier in the year, and then they kind of struggled and fell off. Both those teams, just like Kansas, like UConn had a lot of experience. This Kansas team has a lot of experience. They had a Sonogo. We have a Dickinson. Maybe Jackson. There might be some similarities. Just saying.
The only, I mean, I just don't think this Kansas team is good enough offensively to make a run anymore. My hopes are dwindling by the hour. It makes me sad. But I'm glad you bring up those UConn points because they lost a ton of road games for like a month in a row, very similar to Kansas. 4 seed. Wow. I don't even know if I can do this. I don't even know if I can get here.
Jackson, I can get behind a fully healthy. If that is the case, going into the NCAA tournament, McCullar's feeling good, Dickinson isn't hurt. I
Kansas
mean,
full company is like 16-3 this year. I mean, think about that. Like a lot of these losses have come with Kevin just kind of. I mean, even if he plays, he really hasn't been 100% forever. I mean, I hope he gets to that point, I guess.
I think Kansas can win 6 in a row if they have their full team. Like I'm still on the train. I'm still on
You
the
can't bet
Kansas
against Bill
train.
Self.
No,
You can't bet against Bill Self until he loses the last game. That's the rule.
that is the rule. Well, all right, y'all. That's really all we have. Talking a little bit of the Big 12 from Kansas' point of view. We will be right back to give our predictions, who we think is going to win this Big 12 tournament. We'll just kind of talk the overall bracket. We'll see you guys soon.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 as we all get ready for the best month of the year, March Madness. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD150 and you will get $150 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $5 of your hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD150. That's FIELD150. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $150 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD150 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available in one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in Philly or New York, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create a new account in each state. It's easy, it's simple, and it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the conference tournaments and for the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boost, and my personal favorite, a nice little parlay boost here and there. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Big news, guys. I am thrilled to announce that we have partnered with Autograph, a company founded by the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. The Autograph fandom app gives you access to the best college hoops content, fan contests, and exclusive rewards like discounted tickets, all for doing the things that diehard fans like you already do, following your favorite team in the news and listening to podcasts just like this one. When Tom, and yes, I am calling him Tom, we're on a first name basis these days, co-founded Autograph, He had one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. It works like this: you get all of your college hoops content you want in one place. You get articles from your favorite writers, pods from your favorite hosts, contests from your favorite creators, all on the feeds and the sites that you already enjoy. But instead of having to go to all these different places, it all comes to you in one spot: the Autograph Fandom app. But here's the best part: the more content that you consume, the higher you rank in the app. As you consider the level up in status on the app, you can unlock unique rewards curated exclusively for you. So download the free Autograph app in the App Store and use the referral code F68, that's F68, or tap in at the link in the description below or in the podcast app of your choosing to start earning points for doing something as normal as listening to this very podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Hum, a Kansas Hoops podcast via the Field of 68. Jackson and I are now going to kind of give our thoughts on the Big 12 tournament, who we think is going to come out on top. And I'll tell you what, Jackson, I think there's going to be some upsets in this tournament. I think there's going to be a ton of them. And I'll just kind of go through and start. We just had UCF beat Oklahoma State, the first game of this tournament. I watched that game. UCF looks really good. I'm going to pick UCF to beat BYU tomorrow. That is my first upset. We got the 12 seed taking down 5 seed BYU. So I got that going on. That'll set up a UCF and Texas Tech game on the top of the bracket. Still at the top of the bracket, we got 8 seed TCU versus 9 seed Oklahoma to play the 1 seed Houston. TCU, Jackson. I love TCU. I love the Horned Frogs. I'm going another upset. I'm picking TCU to beat Oklahoma and then beat Houston. I think Houston will be out in the first game they play in the quarterfinals. Between UCF and Tech, I'm going to have to go with Tech. So we got TCU and Tech in the semifinal. I got TCU going to the Big 12 championship game, Jackson. I got the Horned Frogs going. Then we got the bottom of the bracket.
It's not bad. They can drop 90 on anybody, man. They go.
I know. I really like TCU, especially neutral court games like this.
Yeah.
Texas is another very interesting team, Jackson, that I think has been super hot lately. I'm going to pick Texas to not only beat K-State, but to also beat Iowa State. Iowa State, I think they're going to get a little cold. I think Texas is going to just come out scorching. They played in the T-Mobile Center last year during March Madness, during the Big 12 tournament. They played pretty well in this building. I'm going Texas to beat Iowa State. I have Kansas beating either Cincinnati or West Virginia. I'm going to guess Cincinnati comes away with this game. And I think whoever wins that game is going to lose to Baylor. And then I have Baylor, Texas in the semifinal. I'll go Texas, TCU in the championship of the Big 12, the 7 and 8 seed. Just what everybody had, Jackson. You heard it here first. That's what's going to happen. I think Texas has a team that talent-wise can make an Elite Eight Final Four run, and I think they're starting to put it together. TCU, they've been good all year. They run tempo, they guard. I think they're the team that is best suited to beat Houston. That's why they almost beat Houston earlier this year. I think they'll get Houston. There you have it.
Damn. I also like Texas over Iowa State. Texas has played really well the past couple weeks. Not that Iowa State hasn't, but they've been in a lot of close games, and it's because they can't really score at all. Like, they really can't score. So if Texas gets hot, Iowa State's defense no longer matters, and I think Texas can pull away in that one. I'm chalk the rest of the way. I will say your UCF pick, I do think has a lot of validity. They have quietly been really, really good the past 2 or 3 weeks. They almost beat Iowa State last week. They did just beat
OU,
and they beat somebody else 2 weeks ago.
They've been quietly good all year, Jackson.
And some of their losses have been really, really close games too, to like really, really good schools. Like, I think Iowa State barely beat them. Like, that game was close the whole time. I still think BYU wins, but I think that's I think a lot of people are like, whoa, UCF. Like, no, UCF can make some stuff happen in this thing. Okay. So I'm gonna make the case for Houston. I don't even hate your pick of them losing in the first round because they have nothing to play for. They're already a 1 seed, and a TCU loss is going to be a quad one loss, so it's not even going to hurt them at all. But the case for Houston, I think they're going to win it. I think it's just the coordination of Kelvin Sampson and Jamal Shedd. It's their first year in the conference. They're clearly the best team. I think they want to win this tournament really, really bad and be standing there on Saturday like, Kansas, what's up? We're the Kings now. And then it's a decade of rivalry between Houston and Kansas. I think I think they sent Jamal Shedd out on a good note. Man, I'm excited to watch them in March because this is like this Houston team is so ridiculous, man. So ridiculous. And these T-Mobile games are wonky. So I'm not going to be surprised if they drop to TCU and TCU gets hot. That happens. But I think they're going to try really hard. I think Kelvin wants this. I think Jamal wants this. It's just the cap off a great season, their first year in the conference, and they're going to go win it. And I actually do think they could play Texas in the championship game, like you said. I really like this Texas team. And I think when you compare them and Baylor, it's actually really similar. A lot of offensive talent with some pretty noticeable flaws. The only difference is Texas guards much better than Baylor does. So I too like Texas this weekend to make a run.
Yeah, I'm honestly just not on the Baylor bandwagon that a lot of people are. I do not think that Baylor's very good this year. They'll probably make me eat my words and make the deepest run out of any Big 12 team in the tournament. But yeah, if Houston doesn't, if Houston wins their first game, if they don't lose to TCU or Oklahoma, I think they're going to win the whole thing. I
It's
think that'll kind of be their springboard to go win it. But
I
yeah,
feel the same way about Texas too, because they could come out 2 for 19 and you're like, good Lord, that was a bad pick.
but again, like really there is not a lot to play for in this Big 12 tournament this year besides obviously of winning the Big 12 championship. There's just not like a lot of these teams are locked in. Like I guess you could argue that Kansas State is on the bubble kind of playing for but they're not. They're not going to be in the tournament. So really I think Kansas State is the only team that could possibly make a run and get in the tournament by winning this thing. I mean, Cincinnati is going to have quite the road. They're going to have to play
They
Kansas,
have to win it.
Baylor. Yeah, they'd have to win it, and they'd have to play 3 top 15 teams and win 5 games in 5 days. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, Big 12
Like
basketball. It's a gauntlet.
exactly. Like the reason we say that these games don't matter is because all of these losses after today and a couple games tomorrow are all quad one losses. Quad one losses don't move you down in the committee's eyes unless you get blown out like Kansas did. Like that matters. But if you play close game, you lose to a quad one team by 6 or 7, you're going to be stagnant in terms of the seeding. So that's why we say that like these games don't matter. Like they obviously matter. Like they're going to move around a couple spots, but Texas losing isn't going to drop them from 7 to 9. It's going to drop them from 7 to a little worse 7. Like that's the point.
Well, all right, y'all. That's all we got today. As we said, we'll be in Kansas City this week for the Big 12 tournament. Make sure you're following along with me on Twitter at Slants Hoops. Make sure you're following along with Jackson. We'll have coverage all this week at the Big 12 tournament. Hopefully Kansas doesn't play just one game and goes home. Hopefully they play a few here. But if not, again, get some rest, rest
There's
up
incentive to
for
play
the
some games.
NCAA tournament.
There's
Yeah.
get Marco some big time minutes, right? Like get him back in the starting lineup. Like there's definitely an incentive to keep playing, to keep developing. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Kansas is pretty much unloading the bench in the starting lineup for this weekend. So it's going to be a lot of people are going to be playing a lot of minutes that they haven't been playing this year. Jamari McDowell is going to have to step up. Parker Brown's going to have to step up. Everybody is going to have to step up and fill in for Kevin and Hunter. But, I think the boys are up for the challenge, Bez.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Well, all right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time. We'll probably be back sometime before selection